Let us come to the second segment of our discussion. And, sir, we just want to hear from you about the operation after which you awarded with Shaurya Chakra.
Yeah, so this was in the year 2003, and again the geographical background is Kashmir Valley. So as I initially spoke to you, so my first tenure was in the Jammu region, and then the Kargil, and the third one was the valley. So there's a very beautiful valley in Kashmir which is called Lolab Valley. Lolab. Lolab, the name is driven from the low-lying land. So, which is a beautiful lush green valley in one of the farthest districts of Kashmir, and this is where and it was of course heavily infested by the militants, and in fact certain pockets it was so heavily infested that army had no control on the geography even during daytime. So there was so much control by the militants. The local population was pro-militant and all that. So I was supposed to be. So I volunteered to go there. By the way, like I volunteered to go to Kargil, so I volunteered to reach this place and uh, you know to set up a post there and then start the activities. So this was a very different regiment. So now I am no more in the artillery regiment, no more same troops, very different. These are all Rajputana rifles, 6 feet tall guys. I am the shortest of all. So their commander is the shortest of all, and a troop body of around 150 odd people. So for this particular operation, what happened was that we were tracing for some key leaders of the militants, and these out of those there were two who were actually uh, kind of uh, hoodwinking the army or the entire forces there, including JK police and all, for last couple of years, and they were not traceable. So I was trying to somehow, you know, get hold of them. In the bargain, what happened with me itself, that in the first 6 odd months of my setting up the post there and launching the operations, I had certain very successful operations in which there was information that these key leaders are there, part of that particular group, but I could neutralize other militants, but these people even escaped my this thing plan. So it was not happening so easily. Now I realize that this is something which is I have to adopt a very different technique. This is not going to happen in a normal military way that you launch the operations and the combing and search, destroy, and all those things. So because first 7 8 months or even a year of my efforts, full-fledged efforts, you know, could not help me trace these. So then I changed the entire technique of handling this, and but their intelligence was much better than ours, to be honest. So they would know when I'm going on leave, when I'm coming back from leave, all those information they had. So they used to threaten on the radio sets that you're back from leave, we will not allow you to go back live and all those things. A very strong network they had this time, that point of time. So what happened was that then I realized that I have to do something very different. So I stopped, you know, the entire operations in that particular territory for almost next 2 3 months, as if I'm not interested only. So no movement even during day, no operations, nothing, completely dull. I I rather demonstrated that I am interested in certain other territories and not in that territory. So I started unnecessarily going to the areas where I knew that there's nothing, but I had to demonstrate that way. So it was a complete change of tactics. So what happens is that when you, over a period of time, uh, even in our normal behavior, when you over a period of time allow somebody to know that you are not interested in that person, then that person will become casual. You give that person an opportunity to make one mistake at least. So that is where my mindset told me to give them some opportunity to make one mistake. They were so cautious and they're so protective of themselves that they're not making any mistake. So when a person is not willing to make any mistake, you cannot hunt that person down. You cannot do anything. So you have to allow the person to make a mistake. So 3-4 months I didn't do anything that area, and no interest, nothing. So of course these people, over such a long period of time, they realize that they have uh, like, now the army is not interested in this area. They have a free field, they can have free feast, they can enjoy and all that. So all that was happening. In the meanwhile, I was doing operations in certain other areas, and not kind of interested in them. So then one day what happened, that this particular operation date, so I had some information that today they were in the village in couple of houses, and they are going to have some kind of meeting happening there. So even that particular day, when I came to know, I demonstrated as if I am not interested, and I made my men, during broad daylight, I made them to move in the opposite direction, giving a very clear view and a thinking that I am simply not interested in it. Only when day got over, last light of the day, when evening, the dark descended, my men from the other side, they came back to the post quietly, and we were all together. So the operation was planned this way. So then this entire cluster of houses, uh, it was a radius of about 1 kilometer. So I had to cover all that, and besides the houses, there were huge hills, mountains, and all. Unfortunately for me, what happened that वो हिंदी में ना कहते हैं ना, कई बार वो क्या हो जाता है, शुकुन खराब होते हैं, क्या बोलते हैं, व्हाट इज दैट कॉल्ड, you don't have the right kind of thing. So the entire operation was planned within 5 parties. So 4 parties were supposed to be going and surrounding the area, laying the embushes on the side, and fifth party, which was me and 3 other boys, we were supposed to be hitting into the target area. Now moment we started from our location, one of my boys, so in Kashmir what happened is that these small rivulets, nalas are there, and to cross those nalas they place the logs, big logs. So you have to cross the nalas on the big logs. This is not a bridge or something like that. So one of my best boys rather, he slipped from that log and he fell down into the nala. So we wasted about half an hour to take him out. Luckily we could take him out from there. Now since he was completely drenched with water, so while he was moving, his body was making sound. The friction is there, the boots and all that. So I told him, if you want to go back, we will you can go back, and we'll leave you at the post, and then we will continue the operation. But he was like a true soldier, son of Mother India, he refused to go back. So then we continued, and we had to evade through the paddy fields and all that. Unfortunately, I don't know what God knows, God only know what happened. I started the militants. I started hearing them on my radio set. So, some one of them, they were talking to themselves and they were saying कि आज काफिर बाहर निकले हुए हैं, इनको मजा चखाना है. तो अब काफिर बाहर निकले हुए हैं मतलब I was out, and it was about that time around, it was about 9 in the night. So then moment I heard it, तो वो I realized कि my entire story is over now, and the operation is leaked completely. And I stopped at a particular point. I stopped there and I told my team, so 4 of us together, I told them ki we have to wait here. So they judged that there is something wrong. So they started asking from me ki what is wrong. So first thing, as a military commander, which I decided was that I am not going to tell anybody that this is the scenario, because moment I talk about it, I am creating nervousness, I am creating dilemma, and that those kind of things. So I kept quiet and I sat there for 5 minutes. Then I took a decision that whether the operation is leaked or not, as a soldier, once I've moved out for the operation, I'm not going to go back. And again, I indicated to them to continue towards the target area. So in between, there was some low-lying ground. We jumped inside. So there was small nala, and I jumped into the nala. And moment I crossed the nala, so probably they heard our sound in the nala, because it was water and then the rocks and all, so we had to cross that. And 1 or 2 of them, they came out of the house. So moment I jumped out of the nala, I heard some movement and I fired. And my first fire, and rest of the my team members, 3 of them, they took their positions. And my first fire, and one guy was down. So I saw that the sound came, the body collapsing onto the hard surface. The other guy continued firing. Now, fortunately for me, that my technique or my tactics of not showing any interest in that particular target area for 3 months, it paid results. So rest of the militants, they were not aware that where all I have placed my stops already. So they thought that we are the ones who are coming. So 2 of them, they started running in different directions. So they were gunned down by my other team members. And then after that, of course, when the entire engagement started, then we knew that now we have surrounded them. It was only a matter of patience, perseverance, and correct tactics to eliminate each of them. So I realized that I don't have to be in a hurry now, because there are a lot of examples where in haste we have suffered a lot, and unnecessary this thing life we have given that way. So of course, the only point was that I was not sure that how many of them are there and all that. So then, of course, the radio transmission opened in the night. These people were trying to find some help and all those things. I also changed my tactics. So I also, we demonstrated that lot of. So this is a very, very good. This is something which you people love to hear. So now I had to demonstrate to them that we are hundreds of us, whereas we were just about 15 odd team members, 3 for me and rest 3 like that. We had placed the stops, but I had to demonstrate to them that we are hundreds of army people here. So what I did was that I, through my radio transmission from the headquarters, I called for that that big vehicle which is there, MPV, this mine protected vehicle which is there. So some people sat in that vehicle, and they were carrying a lot of sticks. So this vehicle will come to in the area on the road point only. We were of course in the fields and in the village, and these people, these boys, soldiers, they will beat the road with the stick like this, as if a lot of army men are coming out of the vehicle. Nobody is actually coming out, because nobody can take the risk that point of time. Nobody knows who's here, who's where, so anybody can fire on anybody. But the tactics was that we have to display that, a lot of people, a lot of army is getting deployed here, and they are being surrounded by numbers of army people. So this vehicle will come in every 1 hour while the entire operation was going on. They will just beat the road with the sticks and they'll go back, and we will just transmit on the radio sets, 20 more deployed here, 15 more deployed there, and all things. So lowering the morale of the militants. There is so much of army, where do we go now? And then of course this entire operation continued whole night, and in a very selective manner, without suffering any loss. We eliminated, neutralized 5 militants in the entire night operations without a single injury to any of our team member, to the extent that one of their commanders was so clever that before dying he tied his body with lot of explosives. And there was another one who continued firing on us, hiding behind the dead body of another militant. So he's taken a cover of the body of a dead militant, and he's firing on us from that point. And it was all pitch dark operations, nothing visible. And think of the situation at that point of time. You have to enter into a house which is made of wood. You don't know who's where from where somebody can fire on you. So carefully deploying that kind of tactics, military craft. And then I was so cautious about their entire plan. I knew that these people are not going to be so easy. So there are a lot of operations where people in josh and in happiness of operation getting successful, they would go and they would look closely at the militant's body and also, and then suddenly the body will blast and we have suffered casualties like this. So I knew that they can be up to all these things. So what I did is that I called some of my men. We tied long bamboo sticks from a distance of 50-60 meters. Then we moved the body and it blasted. And entire body was it was into splinters. There was nothing left. Think of the situation if somebody would have gone, any of us, and tried picking up the body for the last ritual or something, that we would have suffered so much of casualties. But yes, it was a completely night operation, and it is. I had a lot of other operations also which were not so successful, and in fact there were operations where we were there in the jungles for a couple of nights along the LOC and all those things. But this operation, one good thing is that these there are 2 main commanders who got eliminated, and they were, as I said, they were not traceable for quite a number of years. And secondly, this operation was a changing point in the Lola Valley in the Kupwara region for the militants, because prior to this they had never suffered these many casualties together in one particular operation, in one particular night. And this changed the entire scenario there. And of course this is where I was recommended for Swaraj Chakra after this operation itself. So it was a wonderful operation. Yeah.
Amazing, sir. Means we have never heard actually these things ever. So it was a different experience altogether for us listening to this. Thank you so much for sharing, sir.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
And
Yeah.
once a soldier, always a soldier. You have retired, but you are not tired at all. You are
No, never.
continuing your service to the nation by serving the COVID affected areas during this pandemic, risking your life till today. I mean, that's amazing and that's very inspiring also, sir. So would request you to please share all your activities during this pandemic, sir. The relief work that you are actually doing.
Yes. So, as soldiers, we are, our dharma is to give. तो लोग बोलते हैं कि तुम्हारा धर्म क्या है, तुम्हारा क्या है, कि our dharma is to give to the society, to the nation, and it will continue. Just coming out of uniform doesn't mean that you've come out of your duty. It's just a passing phase that you're no more wearing the same uniform and you're no more with the same set of people. But otherwise, if you see, we are all soldiers in our, in some way or the other in our lives. We all do a lot. So when I came out of the army, it was there in my mind that, let's enhance the sphere of giving back to the society. So first thing which I did was that I started with a small school here in Delhi. And this school was meant for the underprivileged kids, people, the kids who can't even think about going to any school. Forget about public schools or private schools, not even to government schools. Whole set of people are there, and you in your country there are a lot of, I won't blame anybody, but that is what we are. So there are a lot of adults who won't like their kids to go to school. वो उनको शाम को 100-200 रुपए चाहिए बच्चे के हाथ से, कहीं से किसी ढाबे में काम करके आ जाए, किसी के घर में काम करके आ जाए, शाम को 200 रुपए पकड़ा दे, तो उनके लिए that is what their requirement is. They don't want their kids to go to school and waste time. For them, education is wastage of time. We have lot many. If you go to suburbs of the cities, towns, तो आपको मिल जाएंगे. So that is where I started my first initiative, and it took me 3 years to convince the parents to send their kids to schools. 3 साल लगे रहे हम लोग, 2-3 आदमी थे, and then finally we started with it. And then the great thing is that the kids of that particular center, I have named it Shaurya only. So आज इतना बड़ा परिवर्तन है कि जब 26 जनवरी आती है, 15 अगस्त आता है, तो वो बच्चे हमको फोर्स करते हैं कि हमको सेलिब्रेट करना है. सो दिस इज द सक्सेस ऑफ दैट एफर्ट. कि पहले हम उनको फोर्स करते थे कि आप आओ, आपको थोड़ा बहुत बताते हैं भारत देश कैसा है, क्या है इसकी हिस्ट्री, क्या है, आप पढ़ोगे तो क्या फायदा होगा, आपको क्या जानकारी मिलेगी. अब वो, एंड वी यूज्ड टू स्ट्रगल. पहले 6 months में वी गॉट ओनली 3 kids, उनमें 2 भाग गए. So gradually we started. At one point of time I got so frustrated that this is a wasted effort, let's leave it. But somehow as a soldier I continued, and then it started giving results. And अब तो खैर pandemic की वजह से the activity has stopped. नहीं तो the way these kids used to celebrate 26 January, I can tell you it can beat any celebration. So full of josh, they would, they will prepare themselves for a march past, then unfurling of the national flag, then skits, then dances, then national patriotism. It's a complete, overwhelming experience. So that was my first effort, and after that, of course, there are a lot of other activities. So when pandemic started, primarily, I was involved in 2 sets of activities. First set of activities that so we are a team of mostly of the forces people only, and so it is a typical army like setup. So there is this particular entire lot of people, it is divided in various teams. So there's a team which will hunt for the hospital beds, there's a team which will hunt for the medicine, there's a team which is going to hunt for the ambulances, there's a team which is going to hunt for oxygen, like that. And they're divided in north, south, like that. So we would start like a typical army operation. So the request will come of a patient. So one of us, of 3-4 senior people, is going to be a mission leader, will get in touch with the patient's family. We will have a doctor on call who would assess the situation. Doctor is going to recommend that, what kind of ambulance, whether a normal ambulance or a ventilator ambulance or oxygen ambulance. that kind of ambulance will be arranged. A bed in a hospital will be arranged by the beds team, medicines will be arranged by the medicine team, and finally one of the volunteers will go and help the family of the patients. This is urban scenario. So Delhi, Kolkata, Bangalore, Chennai, these kinds of locations, Indore, Vizag. So there, that kind of entire systematic efforts we had put in, and it was really fantastic because then we had an air ambulance team. Can you believe it? So if so we dealt with patients. I'm not a medical guy. I'm a least, I don't even know the basic names of basic tablets. if i if I get fever or something, तो वो भी मेरे को किसी से पूछना पड़ता है कि what is the tablet I should have. So but these 2 months they gave me so much of knowledge in terms of the medicine, in terms of the patient requirements, the sensitivity and all those things, that I'm really glad. So we handled operations where air ambulance was flown from one town to another. Then their team, the medical team of the air ambulance, they collaborated with the team of the doctors where patient was. Then patient was given certain medicines to stabilize. So there's a process which is involved in transferring the patient into the plane, then the plane flying, coming back, and thereafter, and all those experiences. So we organized ourselves. So what I meant to say in brief is that we organized ourselves so well that we are handling all kind of requirements. So somebody has a specific requirements of an ECMO. Now ECMO is something very few hospitals in the country they have, because very, very costly equipment and the treatment itself. So we traced out all the ECMO hospitals in the country, and that's how certain patients who were needed to take this kind of treatment and all those things. So that was the urban scenario, and it was really, I was feeling that kind of a the Kargil kind of a thing, that it's like leading operation only, because you are now, somebody's life is in your hands. Your 1 minute of delay, or your 1 minute of or your some miscommunication can save or break a life. So this is how I relate it to the army life. Then of course, I being from a rural area, I realized that uh, one is that rural is not heard often. It's not in the news. Secondly, they don't have any systematic infrastructure, medical infrastructure, or let it be any infrastructure. There are very, very scarce hospitals or centers like that. And thirdly, you won't believe, I'll tell you one thing. Even today, like yesterday, as I was there in one of the villages near Almora in Uttarakhand, the people there, they still feel that being COVID positive is a taboo. They don't want to reveal. आज भी जब इतना कुछ हो चुका है पूरे वर्ल्ड में, हमारे गांव में अभी भी ऐसे लोग हैं वहां पर जो बताते नहीं है आपको कि दे आर पॉजिटिव और दे आर हैविंग दीज काइंड ऑफ सिम्टम्स. You have to dig it out. This is the scenario in the rural country, in the rural India. So then, of course, I went to few places in Himachal and Uttarakhand, and it is much tough in the mountainous regions, because the road heads are very limited. You have to walk up to the villages, 2, 3, 4 kilometers, hours of walk from the road. You have villages located in so isolated locations that you have to, there are no roads. So we started the campaign there, and then we created, in 15 days, we created 2 COVID centers in certain parts of Uttarakhand where the infection was more. And of course, then we did some kind of collaborative effort with the local doctors there. We created some volunteers. Fortunately, in rural India, people are still, people like in urban India, you don't know your next door neighbor, and you don't know anybody in this society. We are all confined to our walls. In rural India, it is still that openness, large families, so people came out, youngsters came out to help us, as volunteers. So we created a base in one of the towns from where we collected all the medicine, all the help which was coming, and thereafter the volunteers would come in from villages. We'll put it in the inventory management properly done on a system. And then we so for them, like I'll give you, one more example of this. So last month beginning, I had sent the first concentrator there. It became a big news that there's a concentrator which has arrived in the district. So that is the kind of scenario there for them. Concentrator, it was, so there was a guy who told me कि सर ये हमारे लिए ना जैसे वो हनुमान लेके आए थे ना, क्या बोलते हैं उसको,
विशल्य करणी।
हाँ, तो वो
संजीवनी।
संजीवनी बूटी लेके आए, तो ये कंसंट्रेटर हमारे लिए संजीवनी बूटी आपने भेज दी है. So that is the kind of scenario. Then of course from last about a month or so, I was majorly focusing in these areas, and we created isolation centers. Then the first tactics was that prevention is better than cure. So we, along with the volunteers, we went around the villages and we will distribute masks, and वो हिंदी में हमने डू एंड डोंट्स उसके लिखे हुए थे कोविड के, वो सारे पैम्पलेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करना एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो वी रिस्ट्रिक्टेड इट टू अ लार्ज एक्सटेंट. The second was the L2 stage. If somebody is still severe, then we would isolate them into the isolation centers. And we had certain oxygen cylinders there. One odd medical staff would come during day once to visit them and see them. And then, of course, the third was the L3 stage, where they would need an ambulance to be transferred to other hospitals. So we could find certain hospitals in big cities, but it was not that easy, because वो पूरा दिन लग जाता है. If you start from one village which is not even 50-60 kilometers from a district town, but because of the geography and the hilly terrain, for an ambulance to reach 50-60 kilometers, it takes 5 to 6 hours. It's not even going 10 kilometers an hour. So those kind of challenges are very unique to those places. Luckily, from last 10-15 days, the numbers have started coming down and things have started coming under control. The positive sign in the rural part of the country is that the immune system is relatively strong. So like here, if you see urban scenario, the percentage of people, reaching at a ventilator stage, or at a stage where things are looking very severe, is much more than what you see in rural India. Rural India, because these people are basically, they do a lot of physical work, physical activities are there, they walk a lot, natural requirements. So their immune system is strong. So largely we could restrict people at the level of the isolation stage. It is only few cases which, of course, and then the age factor is also there. So these people had to be given better treatment, or L3 kind of a treatment, where you have a regular doctor, you have a regular hospital and all those things. Yes, the positive impact is that our tactics of prevention is better than cure helped largely in the rural belt. Initially, we had some struggle where some of them were not even willing to believe that there is something called, COVID-19 or COVID virus and all those things. It was very difficult. They took it as a normal viral this thing, fever and all that, a seasonal thing. But of course, the entire scenario which was created, and the knowledge which was imparted, the sensitization which happened, and some live examples of people suffering in the COVID, all that helped us to restrict it to a large extent at the initial stage itself. Because if you can prevent, then that's the best thing. Once it is loosened out, it is, like we've seen what happened in these cities, where density is so high. Like in cities, one of the major problems in cities is that our density, the population density is so high, which is not so in the villages. So villages, you can deploy certain means, tactics, where people are not meeting, people are, the social distancing norms are maintained, and they are told and educated the way they can understand. You cannot go as an outsider and make them understand. You have to be one of them. As there's an old saying, do what they say in Rome, do as the Romans do, or something like that. So you have to
And
become a
one more
villager.
thing, sir.
Yeah,
One more thing, sir. In the village or in the rural area, people generally meets outside. That is
correct,
the biggest problem in the urban life, that most of the offices nowadays are the sealed AC office, where if anyone get affected by COVID, rest of others have no other options to get other than to get infected,
correct.
because that AC environment is the worst thing for contaminating this virus.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you
And
completely.
we are very much habituated with the shopping mall culture,
Culture.
with the indoor gatherings. These all are actually creating havoc problem in our
Absolutely.
urban life.
Correct, correct. So, as they say, modern way of life is not all that great. We feel that it is great, but it is not. If you go to the traditional way of living, I still feel there is so much to learn from there. There's so much to pick up there. So, in this past about a month or so, I must have visited almost about close to 70, 80 villages. So, all walking into the hills, then being there. Then there were times that we had to stay there in the night, so mingling with the people, and uh, carrying out the entire activity, making them understand that how to wear a mask, how to dispose the mask, small things. Their small things matter. Then sanitizers, देन ऑक्सीमीटर. ये सब मुझे भी पहले पता नहीं था, मैंने भी जिंदगी में ऑक्सीमीटर का नाम अभी सुना है कोविड के आने के बाद.
Absolutely.
So on all those things, so it was a heartening, it's a heartening experience, and I only wish that we don't, we learn a lesson from this. We have to, we
Yesterday,
have to win. Yeah,
yesterday, Audrija, when I was talking to Sir, Sir just told me that yes, things are now getting better in the villages, and then I told him that sir, ये तो हमने 22 साल पहले भी देखा था कि जब आप लोगों ने एक बार रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले लिया था, तो थिंग्स वर गेटिंग बेटर.
correct.
तो it is
Absolutely.
it was
Our
always like
last
that
resort.
only.
You all have been our last hope, last resort.
See, for all of us, if you are dedicated from your heart and mind to a particular cause, then you will definitely do it. We all have the same capabilities, we are same human beings. The only difference which I find is that the level of commitment, dedication, and love for the country, for the people. Everybody is a family out here. So
Absolutely.
to sum up my entire this thing, so I used to have there was a case study which was prepared on my Kargil operations, and I used to give this case study as a workshop in various this thing domains. So one of, I remember still very vividly, one of the domains, there was this was a gathering of very senior corporate people, all leaders in their particular walk of life, and all ladies, gentlemen, very uh, you know educated, well learned kind of a gathering. So I was giving this. I was handling this workshop, interactive. So the title of the workshop is "There Are No Runners Up," and that's what I, and all this with me, it happens very very naturally. So uh, I realize during my Ironman tenure that you can be a runner up, a celebrity being second in Olympics, in any other competition, but it's only in the war that you cannot afford to be a runner up. So that's what the gist is, that you cannot be a runner up. So the topic is there are no. So as the discussion was happening, there was a very senior lady, and she got up. She said, she asked me a question. So she said, Ki Rakesh, just tell me one thing. When you people are in such situations where you know that probably you may not be alive anymore, you may die any point of time. So don't you think about your families? So, and you won't believe, I did not even think for a second to reply. It just came out of my heart. So I told that lady, yes, ma'am, we do think about our families. And we also love our family. But the question is that at that point of time, when the country needs you the most, who's your family? So I told that lady that you are the family. This country is the family. So when you treat your country like a family, then there is I wonder there is what is it which we can't achieve. अगर हमको ये लगे कि जितने भी लोग हैं ये सारे मेरे फैमिली ही है, ये मेरे अपने ही हैं, तो फिर आप उनके लिए कुछ भी कर सकते हो. जो आप अपने माँ बाप के लिए करोगे, आप वो दूसरे के माँ बाप के लिए भी करोगे. जो आप अपने भाई बहन के लिए, अपने बीवी बच्चों के लिए करोगे, अपने हस्बैंड के लिए करोगे, वो आप दूसरों के लिए भी करोगे. इट इज सो वेरी नेचुरल. देयर इज नो रॉकेट साइंस इन दिस. But the only thing is that you have to have that kind of mindset. So that lady was shocked when I answered that, that way. Nobody was expecting that answer to come. And it just came out of my heart. I didn't think even once कि इनको क्या जवाब दूं मैं. मैंने उनको बोला कि मैम, you are my family. You are looking up to me as a soldier, that let's see that how my soldier performs now when we need as a society. So my first family is you. I'm responsible towards you. अगर आप लोग सब रहोगे तो मेरी फैमिली को तो कोई ना कोई देख ही लेगा, कोई ना कोई तो ध्यान रखेगा उसका. पर अगर आप ही लोग नहीं रहोगे तो मेरी फैमिली का कौन ध्यान रखेगा? So that kind of a thing.
Sir, when you were speaking in Hindi, truly speaking, मुझे सच में संजय दादा से बात करने की जो फीलिंग आती है ना, वो टोन है आपकी लैंग्वेज में भी जब आप हिंदी बोल रहे हैं ना, बिकॉज you two are from the same region. So एकदम वो संजय दादा की हिंदी बोलने की जो टोन है वो मुझे फीलिंग हो रही थी.
Yeah. So of course we are from the same locality, so it will naturally happen that way.
Yes, absolutely. Sir, so we are now at the concluding part of our Vartalap session today, and I would just like to ask you for some message for the listener who are listening to us, especially the young generation of our Desh group. Any specific message for them?
Yes, of course. And this is what something which I look forward always, interacting with the youth of the country, because first of all the youth must realize that they are the future of the country. So the future of the country lies in their hands. That is one thing which is very clear. So they have to think about it. One. Two, my request to everybody, all Indians and especially youth, is that have a purpose in life. The purpose has to be different than your professional and personal goals. This purpose has to be much bigger. So if you have a professional goal of making 500 crores in your life, please do it. Make 500 crores, make thousands of billions of rupees. If your purpose in your personal life is to have 4 houses, 5 houses, to settle in your kids in various domains or other parts of the world, do it. But beyond that, please have a purpose in life where you should be doing certain activities, and certain part of our achievement should go to that society which actually needs it. That purpose has to be aligned with this goal. I am not saying that do 20%, 10%, 15%. I'm simply saying that keep a purpose which is bigger than your own personal ambitions, and let it go to the people who really need it, who can't repay you back. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that most of the youth who are in the urban part of the country, because we have a huge urban and rural divide, to be honest with you, I have seen both sides of the coin, so I understand it pretty very well. The people who are in the urban part of the countries, your responsibility is to uh, fulfill this gap, to narrow this divide. Not everybody is as lucky as me, as we are. There are crores of kids who are devoid of basic facilities, basic educations. Just because you are born in a good family, in a family which can afford good education, which can afford good living standards, morally you are duty bound to share some of this bounty to the people who are not so lucky, and bridge this gap. Let them also grow, let them also feel being accomplished, being achieved. So in future, if we do this, we are we are giving a big we're doing a big service to the country and the people of the country. That is what my humble request to everybody, all Indians, especially the youth of the country. Thank you so much, and Jai Hind.
And any thanks is not enough for your service to the nation, sir. And here would I just like to mention that Rakesh sir is a very much part of our Netaji mission in 2021 and 22. Sir visited the INA soldier Paramanand Yadav on his birthday last year and conveyed our wishes on behalf of Desh to him. And sir participated with us in the celebration of Netaji's 125th birthday, what we did in 23rd of January this year. And obviously, in the concluding session, again, we will have Sir on 23rd of January 2022 with us. So
Thank you so much. My
it
pleasure.
is. So thank you so much, sir, for giving us today's time, and we wish all the best for your work, what you are doing now, and be safe and stay healthy, sir.
Thank you so much. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.